Okay, this is Fred Eberly from Sheep Business Solutions. Wanted to show you a few tips here with using email and see if we can help you through some of the questions about attaching email messages to other messages you want to send out. So what I'm going to start with is just looking at Outlook, and we're going to just store a few emails. And in this case, I'm using the DocuWare Connect to Outlook tool, which is just set on mine to copy mail into DocuWare, and it's going to mark it as thrown into DocuWare in the category. You'll see that in a minute. So if I just click the button, it will store and bring up a little dialog where I can key in the information that I want to related to this email if I want to associate it to something. Now in this case, I'm going to associate it to the company that is in the email. I'm just going to copy that and flip back here. Let's see, paste that in, and this is Thomas Rain. Hit enter, automatically stores it, and here you'll see that it made the little blue bar show up, or over on this, it marks it as that category. And there's a couple different ways you can store. I can do it this way. As you saw, if I had it open like this, I can store it here as well. And obviously that gives me the ability to view the email and do what I need to if I need to grab any data off of it. In this case, I'm going to grab that. And we're going to do Thomas Bright. Store that one. Or I can also just click on something and right-click and go down here to store in DocuWare and do the same thing. So either way, I'm just going to store that same name. We'll use Patrick Summers. So those three are covered. Now one thing I'll show you too as we go, this one here has an attachment that is a DXF file, which is an AutoCAD file. So if I try to open that in my email, it can't proceed because there's no viewer or anything associated to it. So now that they're stored in DocuWare, this is just a search showing what I stored today. If I refresh that, can't talk, you should be able to see them. And here I can open this up just like you would normally in a viewer, and it'll show you the email. And I've got a second attachment, which was the AutoCAD file that I couldn't view before. So just some nice stuff that when it comes into the DocuWare system, you can view a lot of different files that you may not have viewers for on your local PC. So in your case, what you're looking to do is be able to kick this stuff out via email. Now, a lot of what I tend to do is I'm starting my email from here. So I will right-click, and I'll just say I'm going to send this in whatever format I want. I can send it out as original format or as a PDF with or without annotations or as a hyperlink. So in here, I'm going to start the original format, and that'll just pull those out and launch an email for me to key in and do what I want to. Here you'll see should have an untitled message, and again I can key in the sender, and you've got all three associated. Now you'll notice this one here is just a regular email because that's all it was. It had no attachments. These two had attachments, so they come out as zip files. So if I open the zip file, I'll see the email, and then I'll also see the attachment. So again, you have your choice of how you want to handle that stuff. In this case, that's how that comes out. Now another cool thing, depending on what you're doing, is you have the ability to bring this out like you saw. I'm going to send it as maybe the PDF with annotations if I want to show notations. But what that's going to do is create all those documents as PDF files. So I think if this was the one I was thinking of, if I look at this one, those files come out viewable as a PDF. So that CAD file that I couldn't view on my local PC is now good to go. So that can be helpful depending what you're doing, because again it converts it as a PDF on the way back out. Now you have to be careful a little bit depending on what files you're using. Like an Excel file is a complex file in the sense that it has multiple sheets, and it can also go north and south of a single page on one sheet. So those can be a little odd to configure when you're converting them into a PDF coming out. But typical Word docs, things like that that are formatted normally, aren't much of an issue. So the back side of this is sometimes, let me get rid of this email here. Oh, by the way, this is one that I did earlier where I did the send as hyperlink, and this one shows a link for each of the files, which is kind of a nice thing if you're doing it for internal people, because you don't have to send 2 meg or 3 megs of files across your email. You just send them a link, they click on it, it drives it right to the document you want them to look at. So that can be pretty cool to work with. And again, that is simply going send as hyperlink, and that'll launch that email. All right, so sometimes I get people saying, well, hey, I want to be able to respond inline. So I want to do a reply and have all their thread and also have the information that I want to pull out of DocuWare associated with the email. On that one, what we typically would do, or at least what I do, is I'll come in here. Oops, let's go back. Want to make sure I have my downloads folder showing. And typically, when you look at Windows Explorer, everybody's got a downloads folder where when you're downloading content from the web, that's where it lands. In this case, I got to dig for it a little bit because it's not showing up automatically. It would be under your local disk, users, whatever your username is, and then you'll see your downloads folder. And again, that's typically going to show up automatically. I'm just going to move that up here to my favorites. Oh, it was there already. That's where it was hiding. All right. So sorry. Let me remove and do that again, so I only have one there. I accidentally put 2 in that. Now you're learning more than you wanted to know. But yeah, you can slide these things around any way you want to and add folders to your favorites. And I'm going to get rid of some of the files sitting here, so we're looking at the clean downloads folder. All right. So if I'm back in DocuWare, what I'm going to be doing is simply highlighting these documents and saying now, instead of sending, I'm going to just download them in their original format. And I can do that. And typically, this, if you save it, it will go to your downloads folder, but it could go to your last save as. So if I didn't have downloads as my save as, it could go somewhere else. It's good to check so you know where it's landing. And what it's doing is it's creating a zip file. So it's showing the file name. It just grabbed whatever was probably the last file, and that's what it's naming it. Doesn't really matter what it names it. I can also open the file folder here, or I could have gone back to my downloads, same thing, and you'll see it sitting here. So if I open that zip file, I've got each of those 3 emails sitting in here, and it shows the email and any attachment that might be with it. This is the DXF file. That is the AutoCAD that I can't view without a viewer. And here's the email showing the attachment. So just showing you how that stuff comes back out. What I would be doing in this case is I would basically be writing my email, and I could say, you know what, I want that one to go, so I'm going to attach that one, and I want to swing back and grab this one here, and I can attach that. I'm just grouping the emails that I want to send out and attaching them. So now if I open my attachments here, you'll see that the offer attachment is still there, even though it does download it as a separate PDF. If you grab the email, you should be good, have everything that you need. And again, the way you manage files, I usually just kind of dump everything to my downloads folder, and every once in a while just clean that all out. But that allows you to send it, and you're in good shape. So one other thing I thought I'd show you is just in case this would apply to anything you're doing. Your system's not currently configured for this, but you can create a little template where if you have files that you use, like in this case, this is an software where I might create a purchase order. So in this case, it brings up the data and creates the file out of my system, and when I go to print, I can send that right to DocuWare Printer. Now, what DocuWare Printer is doing is storing the purchase order in the system, but also kicking up an email to send somewhere else. So a lot of times we might automate some processes like this to be able to just kick it in to the file cabinet and also launch an email if it has to go somewhere else at the same time. So just wanted to kind of show you that one so you can see what it does. And here again, it was stored. I'll show you that in a minute. And here's the purchase order, so it brings the attachment out, knows where it's sending it to, and it fills in some variable data. It's actually pulling the purchase order number and filling it in the subject, naming the file, and also we have a standard email written that fills in the purchase order number, and then I can send that off. Back in DocuWare, if I refresh this, you'll see that I've got the purchase order that we just stored in the file cabinet, already filed and indexed. If you look at the indexes here, you can see it's an order out, date, project number was there, so we pulled that off the document itself, voucher number, amount, who stored it, and what have you. So that's a couple of the tools that are there. Just wanted to reflect some of that for you in case that helps you knowing how to attach emails along the way and what you can do with all this. And again, if you have questions, feel free to reach out to me. Again, it's Fred Eberly at Toshiba Business Solutions. My number is 717-203-1069, or you can email me at fred.eberly@tbs.toshiba.com. Thanks.